Okay, so let's talk about all the books that I read so far this year because I obviously didn't do a January wrap up, but I also didn't read that much in January. So to make this a little more worth everyone's while, I have combined January and February. So we have 12 books listed, and a couple of them are like short stories. So let's see what I remember. So let's go all the way back to January. Okay, yeah. The first book I finished was Stone Cold Fox, which is on my Taco Tastic reading challenge. So it's the first one that I finished, the first part from there that I finished. And that one was interesting. Oh, and then I feel like the ending fell flat. So that one is, it's kind of a thriller, except I didn't feel thrilled, I guess. I don't know. But that one, that one was like, there's a con artist woman and she has a crazy ass mom and she was trying to get married for money, how some people do. And she basically like it just basically goes through her trying to get with this dude, and then basically wanting to get out of the game. Like she wants to get married and then not have to like con anybody again. She wants to be like kind of done with that life. So this is like her last con, and it's basically about like how far will you go to basically be a retired con artist. But then her like, she learned how to do all this shit from her mom. So it's obviously like she's got a real fucked up family dynamic. So this is just uh like family drama, man. But yeah, and obviously the rich people family doesn't like her and they want to get rid of her because they're like, how dare you try to mingle with us. I'm like, oh, whatever. But anyways, so there's that. There's a lot of, she has a whole fake identity and everything. But I gave that one 3.5. 3.5. So after that, I read Kiss of the Basilisk. Oh my god, where's my copy? Okay, so I found my copy. So this is this is technically like a shifter romance, I guess, but um this is the most snaky weird shit ever. So our girl is living in this village as a chicken farmer, and they're having basically kind of like The Bachelor, but make it like hella more sexual and make it to be married to the prince in this area. So um the basilisk who they have like fought a war with before, it becomes this whole thing of like they after the war they decided that the basilisks, who are like just real good at sex, were going to train these women to uh participate in weird trial things for the prince's hand, basically. And but it's all sex trials. It's not even like they're literally just trying to pick somebody who he's attracted to enough to have like a lot of babies, I guess, to keep their line alive. But it's crazy work. It's crazy work because a lot of this book is obviously smut. It's obviously set up to be smut, and you get a lot of it. You get a lot of it to the point of what the fuck did I read? Because it's like, I don't know. I feel like there's normal sex scenes and then there's whatever the fuck this is. This is not normal smut. This is not normal smut. And there's obviously some shit going on in the background, and just like, oh my god. I mean, by the end of it, I was kind of like, man, what's the point? But then I got to the end, and I was like, okay, well, now I'm kind of invested, and I kind of want to know how this ends, or like where this is going, like the actual plot, because you find out some shit at the end. It's one of those cliffhanger endings, and I was like, okay, I guess we're down, so I'm gonna keep going. I gave this one a 3 because that was a book. That was a book. Oh my god, yeah. So that was some crazy shit. Alrighty, so then after that, yes, I read the arc that I have, the arc copy I have of the Elsewhere Express. That's out now. Um, so that one is very fantastical in the sense that you walk onto a train and you're trying to get to wherever you're going, and instead you end up in the Elsewhere Express. But Anyway, so you end up in the Elsewhere Express, and in the Elsewhere Express, it's kind of crazy because like they're just kind of looping around, and it's like the train is forever going, and regular logic doesn't make sense in there, and there's just a lot of crazy shit going on. So and you're supposed to find your compartment. Like you're basically supposed to, they want you to let go of your baggage and find your compartment. So I feel like they're really trying to help you like kind of move on, except you never really move on because you just stay forever in the Elsewhere Express. Like it's outside of time and you can just kind of like live forever on the Elsewhere Express. So it's kind of crazy, but there's like specific rules and stuff. And it's that. So usually there's only one passenger at a time that goes on, but there's this time for this story there's two. So there's a guy and a girl that go on there, and you kind of follow them through like getting to know each other and trying to help each other, and basically all the stuff that goes on the train, because there's a lot of stuff obviously in the background of this train that made it a little sus, that you're like, what the hell is that really going on here? And they kind of get sucked into the background of that. And so I gave this one 3.5. I liked Watermoon more, but like this one is very good for the vibes. If you like a very like magically vibed book, I guess, magical vibes, then this will be for you. But I think the actual plot, especially the ending, like the ending, I kind of felt like it was bullshit. Like, like sure, let's just do whatever. So yeah, I gave it 3.5. But okay, after that, I read a couple of short stories for Valentine's Day, and I got these in one of those stuff your Kindle Day events. It was the romance book blast one. I think that's the one that I see the most and get the most like free books from. But so these are like indie authors and stuff that put it out there for free so people will read them. And so I read Cupid's Crooked Arrow by Nicole Steele, and this one was basically like a one night stand, but a threesome. And like it's just that's pretty much it. Like it's just smut. This is pretty much just smut. And then they go to a club, they find some dudes, and then that's it. And then the next one, Dulce Por fin, yes. Yeah, Dulce Por fin, Tamaya Cruz, by Tamaya Cruz. So that one was cute. That one was so cute. Like, I feel like some of the pacing in it was maybe a little bit weird, cause like obviously it's a short story, so you have to compact a lot into it in order to like weave a story this like long. Honestly, because for a short story, it packed a lot of information, because they were um friends that grew up together, and basically like they were born at the same time, their moms were friends, and like basically they were kind of always like, it was always like not the right time to get together, but basically they always kind of loved each other, and they just kind of never were willing to admit it because, oh my god, my friendship with them and da da da, and like all that kind of stuff. But it was so freaking cute. I gave this one a 3 just because I wanted this to be like a longer book, and some of the writing was a little bit weird, but I think that might have been because it was so short. But generally, I liked it. So, but I gave it a 3. Let's see. After that, I listened to the audiobook of Terms and Conditions, which is the second one in the Dreamland Billionaire series. I liked the first one. Like, I thought that one was really cute. I mean, are these books hella unrealistic? Absolutely. 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 But I liked this book. Or I like the first book more than this one. So Terms and Conditions, we're on this the second brother who has to get married and have a kid in order to get his inheritance. That was the stipulation in the will. And so he basically is just like looking for anybody to get married to. And so he's like trying to cut a deal like, we get married, you have my kid, and I'll pay you X amount of money, whatever. So he just wants to pay somebody off to do all this, right? And I don't know, like it was already unromantic from the get go, and so it ends up being a romance between him and his assistant because he's so. This is the most unrealistic part is that he is so grody and mean and just rude that even people who would get married for money wouldn't take his money to put up with him. That's so unbelievable. That's so unbelievable. But basically, um, that like they end up starting to plan a wedding with someone, and then she leaves. She's like, "Nah, fuck this." She's over it, and then uh, his assistant steps in, and then they end up getting married. And honestly, they're like both really good at lying and manipulating and stuff, and I just don't care for people that do all of that. Like it's next level. Like in the first one, obviously all these billionaires are gonna be like the psycho manipulative type or whatever. Because you don't become a billionaire by being a normal person. But like I don't know. In the first one, it was more just like he was just more cold hearted. He didn't give a shit about other people, which I feel like that's more normal, a little bit more normal. A lot of people are like that, but and this one is straight up. He like they're just too good at lying and trying to manipulate people, and I don't know. I just didn't like that part as much. So I give this one 3.5. All right, after that, I finally finished reading How the King of Elfheim Learned to Hate Stories. And this is just like short stories that kind of go along with the rest of the Cool Prince series, which I really liked that series. I think I gave all the books 5 stars. Like it's one of my like top series of all time. But yeah, so this is just like a bunch of short stories that kind of go with it, except they kind of all flow together. Like it'll be one story retold like three different ways, but it's kind of like sequential. So it kind of ended up being like yes, there's a few short stories in here that kind of just like are scenes that fill in other things, but then there's like maybe at least half of the ones in here they all kind of correlate and go together, and so it's kind of almost a novella, really. But so yeah, I liked that, and the illustrations are nice in here. Like, let me see. Like, there you go. So yeah, I liked it. I gave this 4 stars just because I'm more of a like I'm not much of a short form reader. I think I prefer like novels. But yeah, this was just like cute and just put you back in that world for a minute. Let's see. After that, I listened to the audiobook with short story of Valentine's Slay, which is part of the Second Chance Romance collection that Amazon put out this time. But I only listened to this one, and it was crazy work. This was crazy work because a dude finds a girl that was buried alive, basically. She got left for dead. Her husband tried to kill her or whatever, and she, by the end, it turns into smut of the dude that like unburied her from the ground. She's like, "No, I'm good." I'm what? Oh, I don't know. It's crazy. It's just crazy. I gave that a 3, but it was fun. It was like it's so unbelievable and ridiculous that like you can't take it seriously. So that was that. And then after that, I finally finished reading Glint, which is the second book in the Plated Prisoner series, and like this book, there were so many times where I was like, nothing is happening in this book, but at the same time, it's so easy to read. But at the same time, like, do I just DNF because nothing is happening? And then, of course, at the end, everything starts to actually happen. And I'm like, and you get like more information. I'm like, we could have spread that out more, and I would have liked this book so much better. But basically, they're just traveling the whole book. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, and where's the character growth that I was promised? It's all at the end. It's all at the end. You have to read all of that shit to get to the end, and it kind of makes sense. Like, she has to go through this whole like learning and questioning things, but like it doesn't come to fruition till the very end, and I was like, oh, fine. And so now I'm hooked for the third one because I'm like, finally we're getting that like character growth I need from her, because Arin is so hard. It's a hard POV to read from because she's just so delulu that you just want to shake her and be like, girl, what the fuck. So yeah, I gave that 3 because most of the book I feel like nothing was really happening. So, and I was just waiting for it. So there was that. And then I read uh, A Deadly Education. I got that from the library. I had the copy from the library. But I read Deadly Education, and honestly, like, this book's kind of crazy too. Because this one is like a girl that goes to a magic school, except there's like no teachers and stuff. It's all self-study, and it's just like people go there to study and to what is it, to like form groups basically in order for like protection. And she needs that because in that group, in this world, there's like uh there's people that use mana, and there's people that are maleficers, and she's a maleficer because she can suck up people's life force in order to do magic. So she can do like really intense hardcore magic, but like it's really bad obviously because then you have to like kill something in order to do it. So she's basically trying not to go down that route, and she's trying to get good at like using just the mana and trying to be like, like a good witch instead of a bad witch or whatever. So, or magician or whatever. So like that's kind of the book. And then it's kind of her like navigating school and trying to like get like find her social standing and all this kind of stuff, and find what kind of opportunity she's going to get while she's studying. And like basically they all accuse her of being a maleficer and like doing all this shit, even though she's not the one doing it. But she's kind of like an outcast, so it's a whole lot of like, you know, basically fixing her rep, essentially. But the school, like, it's called a deadly education because yeah, that school will fuck you up, bro. There's so many things in that school that can kill you. So many things, and they have to like basically keep the school running themselves as students because there's no teachers and there's no staff or whatever, and it's just kind of crazy. It's craziness. Um. So yeah, but yeah, there's some monsters in there that can eat you. There's, I mean, they don't even the magical lice will like eat your brain or something. It's crazy. There's a lot of craziness, but yeah, it's like because the main character is so interesting, it made it like a fun read because even though she's kind of had it rough, she doesn't like take it too she don't take it too seriously. So there's that. And then after that, I read Six Scorched Roses. And I actually ended up really liking this one. So this one's part of the Crowns of Nyaxia series, but this is a novella that goes in the middle. And this was like so good. Like I liked this. I really liked this. Like for a novella, I was like, this actually did something. Like we got a whole ass like built out legit story, which sometimes I feel like is the hard part, But this was good. I liked it. This world is all vampires and stuff. So this one, it's like a romance between, well, I guess it turns into a romance of like a human who is like, basically, she's like already set to die. And then her dad makes a deal with a god, and then they everybody's getting sick and dying and all this, and so basically our main character, she's trying to find like a cure for this, and she wants vampire blood in order to try to find a cure for this and for this disease. And so that's like getting everybody. And so from there, obviously the vampire that she ends up talking to ends up being the love interest, and then it turns into this whole thing of like she's supposed to die, her sister's supposed to die, everybody's supposed to die, but then she like, oh my god, like a lot happened in this little book. So yeah, I gave this 4 stars, and I was into this. And then because I was into that, I went on to the audiobook of The Ashes and the Star Cursed King, and I finished this yesterday. And like, oh my god, this one I definitely like the first one more in this duet because the first it's like it's a contained story within these two, right? Um this one is after the Kajari. So obviously like all the really high stakes stuff happens in the first book because it's like literally like a fight to the death in order to get uh like Nyaxia will give you like a wish or whatever. So it's a fight to the death, and it's all this crazy shit going on because the vampires are just crazy, honestly. And there's like a whole war between the houses. So yeah, um, her friend ends up getting in there, and it's a fight to the death. So now she's got to fight her friend, and is crazy. That was all in the first book. And so basically the second book is all the repercussions of the first book. So after all this fighting and murder hoboing, we went from everyone's fucking around to this book is the find out phase. Like now, y'all was all they were together in the first book. Now obviously things are a little tense for the obvious reasons. And so now they have to navigate that. And navigate like basically where they're gonna go from there, how things are gonna be run now, how like the stakes are different but still high in a totally different way. But the first way is obviously more entertaining. So the first book was more entertaining, I think. But I still like this one because it's the consequences. This is the consequences book of the actions. So I gave this 3.75. Like I almost wanted to give it a 4, but then I kind of didn't. But then, like, I don't know, because there is some crazy shit that still happens in here, like, because the vampires are all just nuts. They're all just nuts. But, yeah, I gave this one 3.75. And so that makes 12 books that I have read this year so far. And yeah, we're gonna see where we go from there. Catch y'all next time.